Here is the Panda 3D printer I just built. Right now, my Monster 8 is not working. The issue is that the X and Y sensorless homing is not working. So you can see that I have the pin set. If I do the M119 command, they show up as triggered. Working. I had to connect a secondary MCU and use a known good board that I've used in the past. Now, with the Monster 8, I have used Monster 8s in the past, and I had an old config that I was able to cross-reference to make sure that I made my new config correctly. It still did not work. M119 was still triggered. So I know that everything is connected correctly. I do have power, but it still does not work. With this board, it does work right off the bat. I spent 2 days troubleshooting this. Can't get it to work. Hooked this up in about 3 minutes. Grabbed some of the config from my other Rook that I created, put it in, and it worked immediately. Now you can see with the current setup with the Big Tree Tech board connected as a daughter board for klipper, that if I type in M119 and send it, it reports is open and open and open, meaning none of the end stops for X, Y, or Z are triggered for sensorless. Z is on a inductive probe. I'll turn off the system. We have our X wire. If I connect this to X here, and our Y wire, I'll connect this to Y here. So driver 0, driver 1. And then we'll go to the computer and change the config. Again, we have jumpers set for diag pins. No end stops are connected whatsoever. All right, so now we're gonna go into the printer config. And I have a lot of stuff commented out, but you can see that I have my SKR connected right now. I need to change this to the Monster 8. So 8 sensorless, not working. Excuse me, comment this. I'll come back here, which was my stepper config for X and Y. I'm going to change, because I added I've been trying everything. I've added pull-ups, I've tried to do pull down. I've negated it, which clearly doesn't work or anything like that. So here's this. We're connected to UART pin PE6 and PE3. My end stops for Y is PA15, and my end stop for X is PA14, okay? So I'm gonna go ahead and save and restart. I changed SGRTH on all of these from 0 to 255. Any values between then and none of that even mattered. And I'll do, again, M119. You'll see that they're triggered and triggered. No matter what I do, they're always triggered. If they're triggered, it means that it's sensing that it hits X and Y. So right now my tool head's in the middle of the printer. If I hit X, it's just going to automatically assume it's already homed. So if I click here and I go Y, it's already triggered. So when I go back, so now I have X homed and Y homed. But since it already thinks it's triggered, it didn't do anything. So if I go to my printer, you'll see the tool head never moved. I've been working on this for 2 days now. The voltages across the diag pins are like low. They're 2.9 volts and they should be 3.3. So there's something happening where these are not working at all. Hence the reason why I had to get a secondary board to connect in order to make it work. This is my conversation with MakerBase on AliExpress, basically just presenting them the issue that I was having. I wanted to make sure that there weren't any additional pins that were causing the diagonals to not work correctly, you know, because the Monster 8 is highly configurable. Basically, I wanted to know about the voltages. They're trying to talk about the firmware, but I mean, I already validated that the firmware works on another Monster 8 with my buddy. His does not work on mine. We checked the voltages across the diag pins. Obviously, the diagonals were set correctly. I was showing them exactly what diagonal pins I was setting. They said, you know, make sure there's no end stops. As you can see in the video, clearly I have 0 end stops. I'm not using any end stops because I have an inductive probe, which only takes a GPIO pin from a different part of the board and voltages. So yeah, at this point, the board is busted. It doesn't work as intended, which is unfortunate.